Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me? Okay. I'm Sheryll Durrant, as Danielle said, and I am here because of my work with the International Rescue Committee. I'm the farm coordinator of their New Roots Community Farm, which is based in the South Bronx. And I also have a second gig where I'm the resident garden manager at Kelly Street Garden, also in the South Bronx. And what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about the work that I do for both organizations and make some connection to waste, not necessarily food waste, because I think other people here can speak much more eloquently about that. I'm going to talk about it in terms of human beings. So at the International Rescue Committee, New Roots Community Farm, we use urban agriculture as a tool to teach food and nutrition, community farming, community engagement and training and education. Now what the International Rescue Committee does, if anybody doesn't know about them, they are one of the largest refugee resettlement organizations, and we find that at New Roots, urban agriculture is an excellent tool for integration for new arriving refugees. And so on the farm, we not only engage in growing culturally appropriate food and feeding people, we also use it as a way to teach people about all the other things that I mentioned. And at Kelly Street Garden, we also use food as a tool for community engagement. But the thread that combines both both of the organizations that I work for is basically working with human beings, and basically be working with people who we normally categorize as the other, we normally categorize as marginalized and outside the realm. And we find that urban agriculture is not only therapeutic, we find that it is a way to bridge the gap and break down barriers around institutional and structural racism, and we find that it's a really, really a healing tool. At Kelly Street Garden, a little bit about Kelly Street Garden, we have many different types of programs that engage not only youth, but it's kind of intergenerational. And the food that we grow, the thing that I like about Kelly Street Garden is that the food that we grow, our mission is to give it away for free. And we do this because we live in a community and we live in an area where we are actually food deprived. And not because we don't know about healthy food, it's because we don't have access to healthy, affordable food. And I like to think of it, and in our movement, we like to think of this as not food deserts, but food apartheid, because the food is there. It's just that the food that is available to us is not food that is healthy and nutritious for the people that live there. So what we have done in our communities is, because we are the other and we are marginalized, is that we use vacant lots and turn them into community gardens where we grow our own food. And when I see how people engage with the way in which we do our work, I get to understand that it's not because we don't know about good food. It's not that because we don't know about healthy food. It's because we have become disconnected from it by virtue of where we live. And once people become engaged in this activity, they begin to reconnect and they begin to have memories about how they used to engage in food, how they used to eat healthily, what is healthy food, what are the different types of foods that are nutritious for them. And this tool is a way of bridging a gap and bringing whole communities together. And I think and circling back to all of it, it comes to how engaging people over the growing of food can help us towards a more humane society. Because I think that the work that I do at the at New Roots Community Farm and Kelly Street Garden is about being humane. And the activities that we engage with youth that are food challenged, because many of the youth that come to our farm at Kelly Street Garden are food challenged. And they, just how to talk about this, it is so emotional and so moving. the work that I do. And just to stand up here and talk about it, sometimes I don't have the words in which to articulate it well. I really want to talk about the people. Forget about the food. The food is just a connection to the people. I work with refugees. I work with immigrants. I work with asylees. I work with youth that are food challenged. I work with the formerly incarcerated. I work with people who have suffered domestic violence. I work with people who are formerly homeless. And I use food and my work with community engagement to bring all these people together, because nobody else does it, nobody else cares, none of the programs that we have in our society, nothing that the government does, nothing that the institutions do help to bridge this gap. So therefore, in our own communities here in the South Bronx, where I live, which actually, if you look on Wikipedia, it's considered one of the poorest congressional districts in the United States, if not the poorest congressional district in the United States. It's where I work and it's where I live. We are also suffer from health disparities. We have the highest incidence of asthma in the United States, specifically where I live on Kelly Street and where I work at New Roots Community Farm. We are challenged by the flight route to the LaGuardia Airport. We are challenged by the highway, the Bruckner-Sheridan expressways. We are challenged by the elevated MTA system, and near Kelly Street we are challenged by the Hunts Point Terminal Market that brings in thousands and thousands of trucks, or hundreds of trucks every year, and none of that food that goes to that market enters our neighborhood. It doesn't touch any part of our neighborhood. We don't have decent supermarkets in our neighborhood. We don't have CSAs, we don't have an abundance of farmers market. The only thing that we have is to recapture vacant lots in which we use to grow food. And through that, we help people to reclaim their humanity. And So when I think of waste, I think of how we waste human beings and how we don't care about the majority of human beings that are on this planet. We don't waste food at Kelly Street. We don't have enough food to give away. Every Saturday at our farmers market, and every Saturday at our farmers market, we give away food to 25 families that are food challenged. At New Roots, I see, because people engage in community farming, I see them come there and harvest their food like a supermarket. That's what everybody should be able to do. They should be able to have a connection to their food. They should be able to access their food, and they shouldn't pay for their food. It's a resource that keeps us alive. Thank you.